Hello and welcome to RSNA 2014. My name is Brian Casey. I'm editor-in-chief of AntMini.com. We're here today with Jef Williams. Jef is Chief Operating Officer of consulting firm Ascendian Healthcare. Jef, thanks for being with us today.
Glad to be with you. Thank you.
Thanks. So Jef, your firm does quite a bit of IT consulting in the radiology space. Can you talk a little bit about what you're seeing here at RSNA 2014 and the kind of things the kind of trends that you think are most interesting?
Sure. Yeah. It's interesting this year. I think that we're day into the show, and I think that we're seeing a kind of a different timbre to the energy of the show. It's definitely much more of a subdued environment. I think a lot of it has to do with just, I think people are tired. They've been doing EHR work for years. The market has not had any sort of constancy to it for the last few years, and I think that there's a real kind of in the people that we're interacting with, it's on the clinical side and the health IT side, which I think is a big focus this year. People are just, they know they need to keep moving forward, but there's just a lot of fatigue, I think, in the market.
Do you think that's because they've been told we need to integrate radiology with the EMR, with the broader IT space, and we're trying to get to that point, but it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, and I think you're spot on. We had this mad rush over the last few years to implement EMR, EHR. With the meaningful use and the revenue stream that came out of that, hospitals emphasized it. They put all the resources toward it, and it solved a lot of problems that we wanted to solve, or at least a first step towards solving those problems. But as we've been saying all along, and I think that people in this community understand, is that the image management side of that, or medical imaging, it was kind of left out of that entire conversation. And so now people are starting to get to the end of that implementation phase of the EMR, and they're going, okay, well, we have all of our clinical data, but we don't have a good way to look at images across the patient record. And how do we do that? And every vendor you come to at the show is going to tell you a little bit different way, a nuanced version of how they think they can best do that. And I think it creates a lot of confusion and a lot of frustration for people in the market that are just trying to take care of patients.
So what's the best way to address that?
That's a $1 million question. I think what it really comes down to is the ability to understand the environment, the ecosystem that you live in. And, I think for years we've gotten really accustomed to the rip and replace model. If we don't have what we want, we're just going to get rid of it and get something new. And I think, well, first of all, capital dollars have gone away. So that's not even a solution anymore. I think it really comes down to looking at your ecosystem and looking at what you're trying to do as an organization, and especially on the clinical side, a clinician that says, these are the kinds of patients I see, this is the kind of patient demographics that we are serving in our community, and this is how they function, this is how they interact with us in their healthcare continuum, and so we need to leverage our existing assets and maybe supplement them with some software stack or some software solution that will get us to where we need to go. It's no longer, there's no panacea anymore. You can't just buy a PACS and solve your problems. You're going to have to work with what you have and supplement it maybe with some other technology.
Well, that's interesting because one of our contributing writers, Michael Canavo, wrote an article for us just a week ago talking about how the traditional PACS replacement cycle is changing, and it's no longer, it's kind of a rip and replace, it's how do we update, how do we upgrade what we have? So that's a very different attitude than what radiology's usually had, which is, we get the best and the latest and the nicest.
Well, and yeah, Mike's a great friend of ours. Yeah, he's spot on. Like I said, the capital dollars are gone, and the PACS isn't just going to solve the problem. So, the real need is going to be for the clinicians to be at the table. And that's really, I think, one of the things that we are trying to emphasize with our clients is, whether you're a radiologist or you're a tech in a leadership position or you're a departmental manager or director, you need to force, the organization to give you a seat at the table of the governance over the medical imaging IT infrastructure and the strategy.
So be your own advocate.
Be your own advocate. Radiology knows how to manage image data, and that's one of the great things is that we've been doing it for so long. We really were the, because we were the revenue stream into the hospital, we got to spend a lot of money. RSNA was a big, come and write your checks, and but those days are gone. But what we can contribute is the the lessons learned over 15, 20 years of digital imaging. What they're just now starting to discover in the other ologies. We learned how to deal with these problems in radiology 10, 15 years ago, and so we need to really advocate for not only for ourselves and for the specialty, but also for the organization.
Now, another big IT trend has been radiation dose tracking, and that's something that you guys have been pretty involved in. What sort of things are you seeing right now here at RSNA and in radiology in general?
Well, it's exciting to see that radiology doses really come to the forefront over the last few years. There's been such a move on the modality side for dose reduction. Most organizations now have adopted some kind of technology around how they're monitoring dose. And then with the technologies that we have around, health information exchange and VNAs, you can really start to see trending with patient dose, not just at the point of care, not just at the exam level, but at the patient level, cumulative dose. And I think over the next few years, we're going to start to see some really interesting studies come out around the role of radiation and medical procedures and the effect on patients. The thing that we would caution people is just having software isn't enough. Just having
use it.
You have to use it. You have to have a program. You have to educate your referring community. You have to have a decision support model for how you are supporting the ordering into the facilities, and then you also need to educate the patients as well. I think a little bit of information around radiation dose is almost dangerous. You talk to people and they don't know the difference between getting a scan at the airport and getting a CT of the head. And so there's a lot of education opportunities there for us as well.
Well, this is a great place for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jeff, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you very much.
Right, signing off for AntMini.com, my name is Brian Casey.